So basically, I'm just like stuck in the midst of all this in terms of the way that the perception of reality in this world has obviously been altered slightly. And for me, in my experience of it, is definitely very different to what most would ultimately comprehend, because it's ultimately led by a varying number of aspects of knowledge that have led to my own understanding of this particular reality, but not only that, obviously the change to it. And I think in in taking those terms into consideration, we can then begin to wonder as to what it is, or some aspects of things that may have occurred throughout this period of time to bring this reality into manifestation. And obviously, I explain, right, that obviously in my thought process, it's actually quite amazing, because a lot of it, it's important to also comprehend, right? The pineal gland, right, can grow to the size of an eyeball, right? When you know this, right, the pineal gland can grow to the size of an eyeball, right? That's the first and foremost thing you have to ultimately understand about all, if not everything. And obviously, what I'm giving an explanation of is that it's quite difficult to forget the things that have happened in time, right? And also, you come to the notion of the comprehension of why it is that most things are the way that they are, or why is it that people are the way that they are, and also the nature of people. And regarding time and everything, right? It's all very complicated, because I'm sure that it encompasses every subject matter that you can ultimately think of, for the most part, and they're all interconnected. But because in our methodology of studying a particular subject, we ultimately introduce silos, right? These silos were introduced a long time ago, mainly starting from the West, by church members, Catholic and other type of church members. I'm not going to reference who, but obviously that's where that those issues originated from, in relation to the siloing of information, and the separating of that information from mind, right? Then we also have the destruction of texts throughout the period of time when people were in their power hungry moods and whatnot, right? So that was then, right? And I think that we also take that and not look at it as an example of understanding the methodologies that we should take in order to create a better future, which we should have had already, right, for the most part. But that's not really what I'm here to do. I'm not here to cast blame, or I'm not here to define what should have been the right choice. But I think that it's important to take and understand it from our history, right, and the global history as it is, as human history, and take that and use that as a methodology to propel ourselves forwards, because that's how people grow, right? That's how, not just people. And I think when we think people grow, people think about some type of ownership over the notion of growth. But what I'm actually referencing by when that's how people grow is the concept of not only biological entities, but obviously the biological aspect powers the conscious or the mental aspect. So take that with a grain of salt. So yeah, so we have to take that and utilize that into understanding. It's actually weird, because the world in itself, even in terms of knowledge, it's actually not as grand or as big as you'd imagine it to be. When you really look at it, it's actually quite. Uh, there's this image of the fractals, right? It's a lot of fractals. That's what understanding is looks like, and that's why that and that's what understanding is conceptualized as fractal, as conceptualized fractal geometries, right? So let's see, right? So what did I see, or what did I have a notion of remembering? Because again, at the same time, not all information is relevant, right? It's only the information that's relevant to you that you become aware of. A lot of people just, I'm not going to get into it, man. There's a lot of issues we run into in this world that are not actually necessary for us to even encounter or even become a thing of. But so I was just sitting down, right? I'm smoking a spliff, boom, and then I had like this vision, right? And the vision just, it was like I was on the other side of a horrific thing that had occurred, right? Like it was like this horrific thing. It was like, and it was, I don't know, maybe it was probably because somebody may have been close to me that may have experienced or known what this thing is, right? So there's a notion about this thing relating to conceptualize gravity. And basically, it's like I just seen like this thing, man, and what it looks like or what it looked like. It's like because it themes, like it's like it themes. You know, the things you know about a thing creates a theme of that environment, right? So it themes, and basically, like this is what I saw, and it's basically it was this thing, you know, and it wasn't like it was fucking weird, but I was knowing and understanding about something that had occurred, right? And basically, it was like kids with toys and things like that. Was one of a description that I could have given, but then it was kind of like a holocaustic air or environment, like a terrible thing had been done upon the world. Um, and but a thing it come and gone and passed, and you know, and on the other side of it, a lot of people were just sitting there with justifications, looking for justifications for the wrongs and the things that they had done, and they're looking for these justifications in simple things or notions, because the people had to live with their choices, but ultimately these choices that they'd made were haunted them, right? Um, and yeah, man, it was actually quite a terrible thing. But again, like I said before, information passes through the neurons, and if you're not meditative enough, you're not actually able to retain that information or that understanding for a period of time, and then obviously you go back into the normality of things. But if you meditate and things like that, you can actually hold on to this information and this neurotic experience and actually catalog it, and be able to retrieve it at different times to actually understand where you are. So that's actually like switching yourself through zones of time, right? Whereas like, you know, I can exist in this time frame, but without the true understanding of specific concepts, the frequency at which I exist in is quite differential, and what I'm capable of and the things I'm able to do are ultimately differentiated a little bit. And yeah, so these people now, fam, for me, they piss me. Some of them piss me off a bit. Like who these people I'm talking about. So basically, usually, obviously, UK and that, it's all good, but bro, that shit for me, there's one or two things that are definitely getting on me in the past, and I don't want to become one of those people. Cause I'm a calm guy, you know, and my personality echoes throughout time. But if you actually actively try to take the piss, right, and you know, and I know that biologically you can influence the psychological aspect of things in a differential manner, and given whatever variables that one has and that they can use. But I can say that it was said, right, first and foremost, it was said that he doesn't have it, right, and that to me, or not only to me, but also to those who govern these things, is a very, very negative thing. And I think that, you know, it's like, there's like the time thing, right? There can only ever be one, right? At each instance of the thing, right? There can only ever be one, and basically, like, it's complex, right? It's complex, and a lot of people just try to hold on to it for as long as they can. But I told him, bruh, you gotta learn to let go, bruh. If you don't let go, that shit will eat you up, man. And and then they start to bother you and shit, start to sort of associate you with their conceptual notions of whatever it is that they believe should be the right methodology or the right thought process or the right guided path for whatever it is that they feel is necessary. But again, that's beyond the point. Personally, as me, man, like I know, man, I prep myself to the fullest extent, and I don't need these complications because this whole UK shit, like I'm down with like the UK, but like being outside of being in another perspective where I can perceive it. And a lot of people just shut down because like a lot of people don't have it. Like, you know, the people, yeah, that are faithful and whatnot, they don't have it, fam. Because they know the truth. But some of them have to suffer, but some of them just make themselves distant from those worlds, you know, and then those worlds like a sense of governance and things like that, man. But yeah, we can always take it back to Egypt if we need be. Like everything is cataloged there, like the whole scenario, the whole thing, the rights and wrongs and all that, all this, that, and the other. And by Egypt, I just mean like a part of Africa where there was this whole process of thingy. But that's the first and foremost thing. Yeah, man. You know, like even like pretty much just seeing this whole thing, man, was just crazy for me, man. Just knowing it as well. But then again, I'm like, man, I think if you let people take this is the thing, right? A lot of people are capable of actually abusing good people given the opportunity. Whereas for me, my thought process, at least the way that I was brought up, is always to understand the reasoning behind the actions, and it's not my responsibility to enlighten people regarding how they should behave and the way that they should be. We've all, even if you didn't have the best of upbringing, you would have been made aware of the notion of the church and the Bible and stuff like that, which obviously people have lacked a belief in. But if you're one of those people, you know, it's obvious, and you know you don't need to try to defend it in that regard. You know, it's there's methodologies to be able to observe this, and true guidance and true um, your true being would be obviously observed in a manner that's rightful to it. That's one and foremost. But yeah, man, that was some crazy ass shit, man. Man, I had to witness that, man. I had to witness this reality, whatever that reality was, and it was crazy, man. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Just a little bit of ramblings there, just giving you all some info. But that's only a small speck of a bigger blob thing. Like there's a massive blob where like a lot of it is difficult to even explain or come into fruition. People pass information between time, so you know each piece of information that is retrieved and cataloged, you can never actually be sure as to where it's originating from. Always remember that. Um, but if it's consumable to you and if you can understand it, you have a right to utilize it in the best manner. You have a you have a right to utilize it in the best manner possible, regardless of its origin in time. But you're not always going to have the ability to access all the information because there's a relevance or there's a ladder in relation to conceptual understanding and utilization of knowledge in this world. But yeah, that's pretty much it for now. I hope it makes sense to some of you.